Thank you.
Oh, we are back after a long break, man. Feels like it, right? Feels like forever. Then we got another long break coming up. So it's it's just the way the fall works, I think. Not much we can really do about that.
That season.
Kind of the way it is. Why is my screen being so wonky?
I just figured you were getting ready to show us our monster of the day.
Nah, never. Would you guys just beat a blue dragon 2 weeks ago? I mean, if you want me to throw another monster out there, I will. I mean,
did we beat it or did it beat us?
Well,
I was totally okay.
It thought it could play with its food, but
I tried to tell it. I tried.
I tried to tell it before stabbing it in the head.
I legitimately told it to go away, and it doesn't want any of this. And it said, "Hey, I'm going to eat you first because you talk."
Because you're so damn pretty. You're so damn bardic.
I mean, and now there's tales of some random guy like, "No, man, I swear I had power, dude. Like I was there."
Oh yeah, because you turned that one guy into a wizard, like an archmage or whatever for a moment to get everybody off the platform, and then he had to go back to being normal.
Hey, remember the plan, right? Got it.
I could see all of the world in front. Oh yeah, sorry. Sorry. Kind of like when Sam Gamgee gets the power of the ring, just briefly.
Well, no, Mr. Frodo.
So, where we last left off, the team had been doing a bit of research and gathering up some additional allies to get ready for the eventual trip out towards the Shattered Isles. After spending some time at the casino and making your way back over to the elevation platform, the team was heading down into the Harbor's Ward down below. On the way down, a blue dragon flew into the area and began to attack the elevator platform. During the fight, by the end of the fight, a wizard with red hair and a Cheshire-like cat had appeared near the tail end of the fight, just in time to prevent the blue dragon from plummeting down into the crowd after you guys had killed it. And I believe that is exactly where we last left off.
Yep. Stop. My dog is trying to eat my pants right now. Sorry.
Well, that just got super weird.
I just happen to be eating pretzels, and she's like, "No."
Most dogs eat homework. They don't eat pants.
Yeah. That's what I get for wiping my hands on my pants.
What are you doing? Are all of you okay? Are any of you hurt? And you can see Caleb is like floating around the edge of the platform as the platform takes the last couple hundred feet down and settles. And as the platform settles, you watch as Caleb lands on the ground, his cat kind of coursing around and landing on his shoulder, and then just stretched out, surrounded by dozens of people, the grisly remains of the blue dragon that you guys just helped destroy.
I was going to catch that.
Of course. I buy that.
Why would you catch a...
I had a plan.
Say well. Why are dragons trying to kill you in the middle of the Harvest World? What is going on?
He didn't want to talk. I tried to talk to him. He didn't want to talk. He wanted to eat me.
Fuck, it's not a native dragon to this area, is it?
It doesn't seem like it. Puck, give me a nature check as you kind of like stand there looking at the dragon with a bit of curiosity.
21.
21? Definitely not native to this area.
Can I tell with a 21 where it might have come from?
Looking at the dragon, it is an adult-aged blue dragon. Kind of looking at its overall condition and age and the way it behaved, it seemed to be very feral and and quite limited in intelligence when it attacked. It's a long way from home. These kind of blue dragons tend to come from the cold north, or they tend to come from areas that experience great like electrical storms or like heavy storm like environments. It's hard to know for sure where it came from, but it does not feel local. You would expect to run into a green dragon, maybe the occasional copper or black dragon out in these kind of regions, but to see a blue dragon out here is definitely very unusual.
I informed the others of that.
Okay.
And also, sorry, my tiger is still on that mountain. I should really go get it before it gets lost.
Your tiger? You have a tiger up on the cliff. I can send my cat to go and retrieve it if you'd like. Bring it down to you if it's important to you to have.
You know, I feel bad enough for leaving it there. I'm just gonna hop on this Drake, and I'll be right back. Don't talk about me while I'm gone.
I cannot help but talk about you because you have cool pets, but okay, whatever you say. But what? I'm sorry, I have not introduced myself. My name is Caleb. It is good to meet you.
We met
me
at
and
the
my
temple, remember? We just talked to you.
Oh yes, that's right. That is you. Why?
Yeah.
Yes, you.
You're just not used to seeing us fight. I'm sorry, but
Is that what it was? Were you're calling that fighting? Okay. Anyways,
the dragon's dead.
it is. It is. It could have been more helpful to capture it alive and maybe force it to talk, but that's okay. You know, you learn as you go along. You know, these are skills that you'll learn as you get better at what you do. It's like, fuck you.
I think you said
I'm,
you
I'm
had
gonna,
a.
like, I'm gonna look at Spot like, you know, why aren't you picking his pockets? What the hell, man?
There's a chance yet. God, give me a minute.
Go ahead, Xanet.
I think you said you had a ship. We were coming down to meet you.
Ah, yes, of course. Yeah, come with me. It's right over there on the docks. Ford and Jester are not there right now. They have run a couple errands. I think they will be back either tomorrow or the next. But yes, let's go to the ship. I hope the ship's name does not offend you. It has had many names, so just ignore the name of the ship when we. Sorry about that. Anyways,
I mean, if it's not called Helm's Dick, I don't think she'll have a problem with it.
Oh.
Wait.
I don't think I was prepared for that kind of literal interpretation, but sure. I mean, it should not be a problem then. It does not say that, I guarantee.
See?
It might say balls deep, but that's not my choice of what. It's not mine. Jester has a very sick sense of humor, and somehow she convinced. Anyway, it's a long story. Come with me and let's head on over there and have a conversation about what's been going on.
I've heard of Helm's Deep, but haven't heard of that one. Yeah,
Helm's Deep.
Kind of like
I'm pretty
Earth and
sure that
Ocean,
is a different world you think of.
just kind of like, wait, what did, I don't know. I don't really understand human mores and stuff, but like, would it not be an honor to you know, write in Helm's Dick, or like what's going on?
This is all blasphemy, this whole conversation.
Like Dad, the whole time is doing her helm's like religious invocation, like
her helm's about to vibrate off of her head,
waiting for the lightning strike. So true.
Just visibly. You okay over there?
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
Is that the steam coming out of your ears, or is it the helmet itself?
It's yeah, I think we should just move on from this conversation.
I'm distracted from being paranoid for a minute. Let me have this.
So as you guys walk through the Harbor's Ward, eventually Puck arrives back with punch and lunch and kind of just joins the crowd. Right now, as you guys are walking down and away from the elevator platform and down towards where the different docks and piers kind of jut out into the harbor, the crowd is pretty much kind of harvesting the Blue Dragon off on the distance. You can see that this is they're not going to let this opportunity go to waste. But Caleb leads you guys down onto the docks and then leads you out to the fourth ship that's docked out there. The gangway is down, so he leads you up the gangway and onto the ship and kind of points towards the captain's quarters. Please come with me, and kind of leads you, opens up the door and leads you inside. The place is a uniquely decorated place, to say the least. Looking at everything, you could tell that Jester has decorated this place. The colors and like the ostentatious nature of the unique art that Jester's collected over the years. Lots of effigies for you, Xanath, you'd recognize the pantheon of the Traveler, the Archfey. So you recognize all of the Traveler effigy that is on display here as well. There's a large sitting table with kind of like bottles and tankards and like half-eaten food. There's like a large captain's desk and like small stacks of crates and lots of fabrics and silks and like things that have been collected like over a great deal of a period of time from traveling around in the Isles and the Lucidian Sea. There's a very, very strange painting on the back wall of it's got Caleb in it. You recognize Ford and Jester. The others in it you don't really recognize all that much. So it's almost like this is their traveling home to a certain degree. It has that kind of like home vibe when you guys step inside. Caleb points towards the empty chairs. Please sit down and we can talk. That was quite interesting for you. You did quite well taking on that dragon. I commend you for that. We have been traveling a bit lately. I think we were talking last time about that young man that we found out in the sea that had come from a place, another world.
The one that you pulled out of the water, supposedly.
Yes, he claims to work for an organization called the Harpers, I believe.
That's
if I
what
recall,
he said.
that's what he stated. We still don't understand what any of that means, but he seems convinced that it is an actual place of organization. I love it when Spot wanders off. It just cracks me up.
He is a cat.
He is a cat. It just gets up and wanders off and knocks something over. Yeah. Refresh my memory. What were we supposed to talk about later? I'm sorry. I was working on something else that we were up at the temple, weren't we? And we were discussing things there.
Yeah, I pulled back out the manual for the machine. I forgot the name of the machine.
Ah, yes, the Hands of Fate.
The Hands of Fate, yes.
Yes, of course. My interest in tinkering and mechanics definitely so here's my thing of concern for this. I believe this thing might be linked to I don't know if I want to call it a prophecy or something of concern. It is a doomsday device, we believe. Best to leave it alone and not mess with it, perhaps.
I mean, I kind of want to destroy it so that no one can mess with it.
The problem is, when you destroy such devices, sometimes they can be equally as dangerous. I'd like to see if we could figure out its source and learn more about it from there. But I was curious, what are your and your friends' plans? Where do you plan on going next?
So the plan is to go through to the Isles, to the Shattered Isles.
You're still sticking with that plan, are you? Interesting. Uh, how are you
Look,
going to get there? How are
We've
you
been a part of a
accomplishing
couple
this?
of prophecies now, so I mean, at this point,
Well, I don't, like I said, I don't know if it's a prophetic idea of this. Recently, during our travels, we came across documentation and written works about something called the Hand of Fate. Supposedly, some great device that is designed specifically to trigger such an event of cataclysmic proportions. But you could open up any book of any society, of any nation, kingdom, and probably find an equal prophetic opportunity of talking about the end of the world. It's what people use things for that create the ends of worlds.
well, if we read it properly, I mean, this thing was a contingency plan for Gribbles and all those assholes that were ruling this place.
I wonder if it might be linked to something else. If the gnomes have been dealt with and the different guilds are no longer in control, the only thing that would ever activate such a device is those that pertain the information and the ability to do such a thing. I believe you stated earlier that you had. Oh yes, there's
I pull out
the
the key. Mhm.
As long as you have the key, one could ascertain that the device cannot be activated without the key. You have the manual as well for operating the device.
Well, we also didn't have the key to lock the gate with the giant fire demon coming out of it, but we made that key appear. So, I mean, if somebody really wanted to, couldn't they duplicate this key?
I don't think that's how it works. And I'm not entirely sure that your involvement with the Fire Titan can be put in such simple tones. I think what you and your friends did to deal with such a danger had more to do with magic and skill. I don't think that what happened there was luck. I think what you did was expected of your own abilities to stop the Fire Titan from rising.
I kind of look at them and I mean, it sure felt like luck.
Don't sell yourself short. Even
It's
if
okay,
it was
Earth.
luck for you, I just
Earthen.
Look, I tried to drop an anvil on a chair and missed, okay?
so maybe it wasn't luck.
Okay.
No. We've accumulated a few skills, but we've also been lucky.
Okay. I'm gonna try to pick Earthen's pocket.
While he's talking to Caleb? Okay,
Yes.
go for
What did I
it.
do?
Give me a sleight of hand as you do it.
That is a 24. I'm sorry, a 34.
Oh,
Okay.
dang.
Is there anything in particular that you're looking for?
No, I'm just doing this to basically kind of add on to Puck's point. Like, I mean, I could always do this, but like, I got really good at this. They just kind of toss like some knickknack I stole from him over Earthen's head.
So Caleb, you're asking us a lot of questions, but you're not really telling us too much about yourself.
Well, there's not much to say.
You defeated the dragon.
Well,
and you
so
didn't
it's-
come and help us, a few moments earlier.
well, I was busy working on something when someone came in and yelled about the dragon attacking the harbor's ward. I tried to get there as soon as I could, but I unfortunately arrived at the end of the circumstance.
Well, it's a good luck you've come. A lot of people could have been hurt.
Oh well, yeah.
I had a
I mean,
plan for that. Come on. Over here talking about luck, and it's not luck, and then you're like, oh, people would have got hurt.
Well, we shouldn't. We shouldn't renounce our blessings. We've had so few. But you have seemed to have arrived out of, nowhere. You seem to have some interest in this, and I think I speak for all of us when I say, "What's your deal, man?"
Give me persuasion check.
No, I have 0 charisma.
I like if I want to like egg Puck on because I like this Puck now.
Okay.
This inquisitive, like paranoid Puck. I'm behind this. If I would either like give her bardic inspiration or try to give her advantage on the roll, whichever
You
one.
give her bardic
like-
inspiration if you want. I'm okay with
Okay.
that.
Like,
Well,
ooh.
I
Well
rolled an
done,
11,
Puck.
so.
What's the
Do
what's
I
the
do
bardic
wow?
inspiration
You
now?
can roll it. You can roll a d10 for inspiration.
Oh, amazing stats. 11 plus. Plus. Plus 10.
10!
Holy
Yes!
shit.
That's a 21. Ah, nice.
Amazing!
Oh my god, thank you, Ethan.
Caleb goes, well, I have taken an interest since the information was passed on to us by some friends. Of course, after your what you did up north and on the other side of the island dealing with the Fire Titan. When word got to me and my friends that you were planning a visit to the Shattered Isles, we thought we would take this opportunity to aid you in whatever your endeavor might be there. That is where we found, kind of in the area that we found the young man that we brought here. There have been other. I think that blue dragon came from the veil around the island. One of our reasons for being at sea around here is we've been receiving reports of random ships, creatures. We've even heard stories of a massive, like this huge turtle with like a city on its back floating about out in the sea.
Puck knows about that guy.
Like as in personally, like you're dating him or you just know of him? Is that,
Yes,
how
we've
this,
been, we've
talked
been
to fish,
romantically
talked to him.
involved for a while.
that sounds very painful. What is the creature? What does it do? Is it a sentient creature? Is it
Before I answer that, I would like to know more specifics about those friends who you've heard about us through. Just because we haven't been of much renown as of yet.
Well,
And
it's the prefect, of course, mentioned what you had done to protect the island and free the gnomes and the other population of this island from the very autocratic control of the Copper Keepers. And I am concerned that what they were doing here may be more than what you've seen. What I think their intent was to release the Fire Titan. I don't think that was their goal. Is there another creature or something else possibly involved that we are not aware of?
We'll answer a little bit more of your questions in a later time. But you've still kind of appeared out of the blue in semi-suspicious situations. And we've been hurt before. We've been burnt before.
I like this Puck.
You could tell that Caleb's like trying to not say everything. He's not sure if he should or not. You can pick up on his hesitation.
It's okay. You can tell us, Caleb.
It's not a matter. Have you ever heard the saying that if I tell you something and somebody else wants to find out that something, then now they decide to find out if you know it?
I've also heard secrets don't make friends. And you're
Well-
really trying to make friends right now.
Well, secrets sometimes keep people from dying too.
We
So
haven't died yet, all the way.
Speak for yourself.
what does that?
I am
all
speaking
the
for
way.
myself.
Yeah, well, that's probably true. Bards often find themselves in peculiar situations.
Hey, I'm not like that. I'm not like that. Come on now.
I'm guessing. I'm guessing your intent is to travel to the Shattered Isles. My concern is that there's something going on out there that is getting progressively worse.
You don't
3
have to be
days ago-
concerned of that. There is something out there getting progressively worse.
Well, not
That's
in
our.
the-
We wouldn't be going to the Shattered Isles if it wasn't going. If we didn't think
But-
something out there was worse.
but not in the way you think it's getting worse. We think that the veil that surrounds the Isles is a sort of portal, a way to go in and out of multiple planes of existence. And these strange creatures and these strange ships and these other things that we have been hearing rumors about and other activities, our concern is that it's destabilizing and getting quite worse.
All the more reason we need to go there faster.
Well, I can appreciate that sentiment, but do you go running into a building that's on fire knowing that there are no doors or windows other than the one that you run in? I think preparation would be good. If you have means of sailing, or me and my friends would like to travel with you to the edges of the veil to prove our point. We have a good friend that we need to get information to so that she can participate in what we think might be going on.
Does this friend have a name?
Yes, she does, but for now, she would prefer to remain anonymous just in case of certain activities that she's involved in.
Her name doesn't rhyme with Wanderman, does it?
No, I don't
Okay.
think so. What does that mean? That's a strange
Nothing.
word for you to bring up.
Sure.
Is there a different reason why you guys are set? I'm assuming that you're going out to the Isles to make discoveries of the Veil.
We
Is
were
there
hired to
a-
go out there for one reason. I think we have a different reason now. But knowing that you have a female friend who's trying to get you to go to the Veil as well, you certainly are a talented guy, and this is certainly an expensive setup. Gaudy, just as gaudy as I might expect Mason might have, frankly.
Mason? Who is that?
Sure, you say Jester, you say Ford, you throw out these names as if we're supposed to know them, but I mean, you're a very powerful wizard of some kind, but you're keeping secrets from us. And the person who sent us here and our journey here was fraught with very powerful wizards who deceived us at every turn. So the more secrets you hold, the less likely I am to want to believe anything
what-
you're trying to tell me.
What powerful wizards are you speaking of? I'm confused. Alora and Pike, when they shared this information with us, they did not disseminate some of what you're saying. So I'm confused by this.
We did not disseminate everything to Pike or Laura about our journey here, but it hasn't been an easy journey.
You just
And-
mentioned that secrets are not good, yet you keep secrets from Pike and Alora. I'm confused.
They didn't ask.
Well,
There's
maybe.
there's a man we're following. I think we've mentioned him to you before. Mason making his way through the veil. It's not clear to us what he's trying to do, but it feels time sensitive that we catch him before he does it.
You know Mason. He used to work for the Dwendalian Empire.
I know of the name, but he was put out of business some time ago. He is not sanctioned by the Dwendals anymore.
And yet here he is on a Dwendalian vessel, showing up to the island on a Dwendalian vessel, escorted by Dwendalian men.
It is quite possible that this is all a charade that he puts up to find his way into places that perhaps if they knew the truth of him, they would not let him in. Not everyone is capable of seeing through such secrecy. Our involvement has only been recent, within the past couple of weeks. We have come here because Vasselheim has determined that this place is quite dangerous, and with your successful weakening of the guilds, Vasselheim has been able to reassert itself here before handing it back over to the council that is currently being formed. We are not staying. We do plan on leaving, but I am concerned with such, well, to put it bluntly, are you this paranoid all the time or just some of the time?
You know, I think if we are to help each other, it might be helpful to us for us to know what do you want from us, and for us to state plainly what we want from you.
I do not want anything from you at all, actually. The main reason why we've stopped port here is, number one, to check on the gentleman that we left here before. Alora did ask us to stop over as well. And I think before we head over to the Shattered Isles and over to Zavale, we were merely hoping to see if there is like-minded information before we head out there yet again. It appears that something very strange is going on out there, and it is Jester's belief, which is why she's not here. She's gone off to a temple. It's her belief that the different shifting energies of the veil represent different planes of existence, different portals. She feels that the veil is collapsing and creating random outcomes where creatures are being pulled in and out of these places. One of her conjectures on this is that the individual that we brought here to be looked after by the organizations here, more importantly, Xanath's prefect, the one that runs your temple, is to determine whether or not he's telling the truth or not. And the information I received from your prefect is that he is telling the truth. He is from another world called Torel. He is part of an organization called the Harpers, and he is not from Exandria. He is not from this world. That is the greatest amount of evidence we have to prove, just as theory, that the veil is either in flux, in collapse, or something else is causing the veil to behave in such a way. We've heard reports of vampire in other community islands. There are reports of ships that are ghost ships, but yet the vessel doesn't appear to be from any vessel kingdom that we know of. We've heard of creatures. That blue dragon that attacked, with no warning, with no intent, just suddenly arrived here from, I don't know if any of you know much about dragons, but blue dragons are not innate to this region. They come from either very far cold regions or more like larger continent-like regions, not necessarily the wilds of the sea. One can start to put the pieces of this puzzle together and begin to realize that Jester may be onto something. The question is, how is all that linked to what the gnomes were doing here? What do we think the gnomes were doing here?
Let's test that theory. The dragon's still out there, right?
It's currently being harvested by the locals.
You were able to communicate with the dead guy in the tower in the temple, right?
Sure, but it's a lot easier to do in certain ways. I think Xanath could offer up insight into speaking with dead. Speaking with a dragon,
we killed
is not
it,
like
right?
It. Say again. What?
Well, we killed the dragon. It would be hard for us to try to speak to it anyway. Why would it want to come back and talk to us?
Well,
You didn't kill it, though.
yeah, I've never spoken to a dead dragon before. That is not something I'm familiar with. Xanath, do you possess any powers or abilities that would allow you to do that, do you think?
I could do it if what you're telling me is right. I wonder how much information we could get, but could certainly try.
But I'm wondering if we could prove that it's from a different place altogether. If we could prove that, I think once again we have another piece of the puzzle. That if these shifting planier locations within the veil that surround the Shattered Isles are having issues and creating these disturbances, we could possibly link what we think the gnomes were doing to what they might be seeking out there, because we do believe that part of their guild has established a location within the Shattered Isles. We operate under that assumption. A lot of the information that has been seized from their guild houses, their charts, their journals, their documents tell us that they have a location in the Shattered Isles.
Well, our goals might diverge then, but I guess we would like to know if you would like to earn our trust at any point. You would have to...
How do I do that?
I would say to start, you would have to tell us who owns this ship that you are inviting us to be on. And what
this is fourth ship. He's had it for a couple of years now, if not longer.
And why is he so keen to pour money into this and to send you and collect other people on this mission?
Oh, well, to be honest, Ford and Jester are filthy rich. They have more money than they know what to do with and are capable of doing whatever they want. It just so happens that they do enjoy exploring the sea. They think of themselves as kind of like pirates, but to be honest, they're not very good pirates because they do a lot of good things. I've always imagined that pirates do a lot of bad things, like raid villages and steal from other ships. They don't really do that. I like to bolster their idea that they're pirates, but to be honest, they're just good friends.
You mentioned when we were in the temple that you had traced something that was stolen here to the island. That a certain gnome had supposedly stolen something from a barbarian.
Ah.
And you traced it back here.
Yes. I guess if we're going to trust each other, then that is a good starting point. Oh, have you ever heard of a relic called a Deck of Many Things?
Mm-hmm.
I'll roll history.
Yeah, you can roll history. See if you recognize it.
I'd like to do that as well. Would that be? Is this something that I might have come across as, given my personal history as a bit of a tricksy kitty? Yeah.
As a kleptomaniac.
I rolled a 22.
Okay, I'm not going to beat that.
22 spot. You give me a history check, see if you've come across it. Any reference or information related to it.
Just a 12 on mine.
12. No, you haven't, but it sounds really cool. Earth, and you know exactly what it is. It's rumored to only exist as a single item, like it's a unique item. It's made up of like 24, 25 cards, and when you pull the card executes the magic that's like invoked into the card. And it's said to be both very powerful, dangerous, and could also be very lucky at the same time, depending on what card you pull. Said that with the pulling of each card, it disappears after the magic's invoked. When all the cards are pulled, the deck vanishes back into the ethereal plane to wander until it can be rediscovered again.
What kind of mage are you again?
I am a fire wizard, of course. I like
No-
fire.
No divination, right?
I have magic items for that. I've always focused in a single school. It's allowed me to be able to manage and learn things at a faster rate that are important to my skill set. My divination and other properties of magic that allow me to do other unique things I have through devices that I contain on myself.
So you're not trying to make use of that deck in some nefarious way, then?
Oh no, it used to belong to, well, he's not a close friend, but he is a friend of a friend, I guess. Alora's friend, Grog, a particularly interesting barbarian, Goliath in nature. He had pulled a couple of the cards. His friends convinced him how powerful it was, and it was supposed to be taken back to the Cobalt Soul Vaults in Vesselheim, but never quite made its way back there. Rumor has it his really good friend Scanlan and him traveled with the deck for many years. The deck was mostly consumed during their travels. It is said that someone stole it from them after they got particularly drunk at a particular brothel in Amman. The gnome worked for the Wanderman Assembly at the time. Now, this particular gnome, we don't have much information on, but because of our familiarity with the deck, it eventually caused us to come in this direction. During our travels to Gnomeworks, we had to pass through the Lucidian Sea and near the Vale, and that's when we began to hear of occurrences, issues, and we picked up the young man from Torel, and now I believe Ford is using a magic device of location to try to see if he could find who has the deck here. But he has already mentioned that he does not believe it's here anymore. He thinks it may have been here a couple days ago, 2 days ago, and now may be gone. He does not know, but he's scanning the island. He's got a ring of locate object that he's using to try to find it.
And
He's on a gnome.
why chase the deck? Just to find it?
Well, it should be reacquired. See, if it can be brought back before all the cards are used, it can be put back in a vault and never be used again and safely tucked away. If all the cards are pulled, it disappears, becomes a full deck yet again, and will travel the ethereal plane and the astral sea until someone finds it again. It's a very dangerous device. We would prefer that it not be used at all, to be honest with you.
This sounds like you want to hold all the power for yourself.
No, I don't own the vault. The Cobalt Soul owns the vault, not me.
Who runs the Cobalt Soul?
Not me. I don't know who runs it. Probably you'll have to ask Beauregard that question. She could probably answer that for you.
Weird thing. Can I kind of like I know it's been dyed and kind of reworked, but I remember my robe was originally one from an acolyte of the Cobalt Soul. Can I just kind of sit there and be like, look at it, just like you mentioned the Cobalt Soul. I'm not a monk of that, but I have some of their stuff. I might be able to revert it and like get some info there. you think that might be helpful?
No, the Cobalt Soul is not an enemy. If you need to go talk to them, just go to Vasselheim or Amman and talk to them.
You
I
guys are
don't know
so
if I-
boring.
Well, no, it's just you talk like they're our enemy. They're not our enemy. They're our ally. They do sometimes make poor decisions. Their intentions are well enough.
Sounds like cats. Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
This reminds me of my friends so much, but it's quite painful looking at it from the outside. So I've answered a lot of your questions, correct? How I came here, why we're here, what we are looking for. You mentioned that you were going to go to the islands for one reason, and now you're going for another. What does that mean?
I pull out the Wanderman badge.
I'm familiar with that badge. It's a badge of the Wanderman Assembly.
This is who was originally sending us to the Isle.
Oh, you are part of the Blood Vault. Your attempt. Fascinating.
Well, last we
So
heard,
we
were meant to be like sacrifices. Never meant to go through there at all. We came across the missing heir. He murdered one of our friends. Disappeared again.
Tally's like,
She got better.
getting better.
She feels happy.
I'm feeling happy.
So
I
happy.
want to walk and run.
But they appear to have been taken away by Mason, who is currently headed towards the Vale, along with 2 more copies of a pretty wicked lizard man, who's also headed towards the Vale.
I
So-
don't know much about the lizard folk that you speak of, but one of the
Well, we thought we
reasons-
killed him, but apparently there are more of him.
Simulacrum.
Mm.
So powerful wizard he was?
More of a prophet, cleric.
The
kind of.
lizard?
Yeah, he was a cult leader at least. Yeah.
Shaman, perhaps?
Yeah, I pull out his book as well because I still have his spell book.
Have you ever been able to decipher it, or have you read it, or anything?
We looked through it some, and we found out that this was like one of the 3 items of power. Like he had 3 items of power. Each one of his simulacrums had 1, and this was the book.
Caleb looks at the book. May I see it for just a brief moment, please? He reaches out and takes it from you, and he holds it in front of himself, and he just waves his hand over it. There are 2 other items linked to this item. There's a staff and I think a circlet. A staff, a circlet, and this book represents a trifecta of power, as you mentioned. He is weaker now without this book, so do not get this back to him. And he hands you back the book. The other 2 I sense have both the circlet and the staff. They are still dangerous, but as long as that book is not part of the trifecta of what they're doing, I think he is weak. They are weaker for it, I think.
I should hope so.
Mason was driven out of the Dwendals by the new monarchy and the new leaders of the Service Assembly, including myself. He is a vampire.
Mm-hmm.
And when it was discovered, he was driven away. He was pretending to be a member.
That's what it took. That's all it took. It wasn't all the evil shit that he did. You just found
But
that he was a vampire, and that's why you kicked him out.
Well, no, I had nothing to do with it. To be honest with you, I didn't know who the man was
Jeez.
until it was brought up to the courts.
That guy's been hunting me for years.
Well, what brought him into your? Why would he be hunting you?
Pull out my wanted poster.
But if he
We're
doesn't
proud of
work
that
for the
poster.
issuance, why was he hunting you?
The issuance has been disbanded. How long has it been since you've been home, Earthen?
More than 20 years.
Okay. Things have changed, right?
No, I don't.
Well, let me get you something.
You told me things have changed, but I don't know things have changed.
He walks over to a cabinet and he pulls it open, and it's got drawers and like a space above it. He pulls open a drawer and he reaches in and he pulls out this like rolled up parchment, but has like a fancy wax seal on it, and it's got like little kind of like paper tassels hanging off of it, and you can see both the Cerberus Assembly, and while you recognize the Dwendal Monarch stamp that's on it, it's slightly different. Instead of a marking of King Dwendal, it has a marking of a queen, which seems impossible to you because of the way the hereditary title has worked in Dwendal for so long. And he kind of grabs it and he hands it to you, holds his hand out, takes this writ, and no one can prosecute or arrest you as long as you have this item. It is impossible. If they do it unjustly, and they will be punished for it accordingly.
I open it up and read it.
It's basically a proclamation of innocence. It's a kind of like uniform writ that's put out by both the monarchy and the Cerberus Assembly to pardon or make sure that people who are in possession of this can safely travel through the lands of Dwendal.
Huh. Earthen's lost in thought now.
So, back on the subject of Mason, because I am intrigued by this gentleman. While I was overruled, see, the Cerberus Assembly and the monarchy, while they live together, they don't exactly are allowing the Cerberus Assembly to have a measure of power anymore. That was stripped away by the new queen. She pretty much holds command over the empire itself. Now, this was because King Dwendal did not have an heir when he passed away. His obsession with immortality had caused him to make very bad decisions in who he put in charge of things, who he put in charge of the Cerberus Assembly, a particularly nasty individual that has been dealt with, who still languishes in prison to this day. The Cerberus Assembly was reformed around myself and a handful of others. The Queen felt it wise to keep them separate permanently so that neither could corrupt. While the Queen has accepted the tutelage and guidance of the Cobalt Soul, Beauregard is one who has always felt that as much as the Cobalt Soul could be attributed for doing good things, sometimes the preservation of truth can drive people to do bad things at the same time. And the Cobalt Soul, unfortunately, is quite good at such things sometimes. They get, how do they say,
Zealous.
Zealots, the betterment regardless of the damage, right? The idea that if I have to make a couple things disappear to preserve the peace, somehow that outweighs the evil that was about to happen. And then me and my friends do not believe this to be something that should be always justified.
Yeah, I heard of a guy like that. He said peace no matter how many people he had to kill to get it.
Yeah, it happens. It's a good peace for death for the sake of peace. It's as much as we all want peace and we want to live our lives happily, it doesn't excuse our behavior. Mason was purged by the monarchy. I didn't know about it until sometime later. We were able to trace his relationship with the issuance to a false order of the Claret Order, a kind of ghost hunting order. And he was using this as a cover to look for something. We're not sure what he was looking for. However, he spent a lot of time at the Rexentrum Library and Academies obsessing over a place. And that place is called Bunrovia. Now, we know something about it. It is a very dangerous place that exists within the Shadowfell. It is believed to be the home of the first of all vampires, an individual that goes by the name of Strahd. Very dangerous, very unpredictable, and said to be quite lethal individual. Somehow, Mason's obsession with Bunrovia may be linked with the veil that surrounds the Shattered Isles. We believe that to possibly be true. Jester is convinced that anybody that can figure out how to manipulate the magic of the Shattered Isles could become quite powerful. Which is another reason why they want to be sure to find the Deck of Many Things. Because there's a particular card in the deck, and this particular card is called the Moon card. Whoever pulls that card can make a wish. And Jester is afraid that if either this Mason or somebody else of manipulative power gets their hands on that deck, that if they do pull that card, we're not sure what might happen if they make that wish in relation to the power that surrounds the Shattered Isle. This is why we search. This is why we look for these things, to prevent the way Pike's promise, the way she has always stated, Vecna did not happen because of accidental causation. Vecna happened because nobody participated in its prevention. And Pike has always stated time and time again that actively looking for these things is the greatest deterrent to making sure they don't happen again. And that's what me and my friends do. We look for these things that can cause bad. They're not always known to be evil. Evil and good is a gray area. You know, you think you're doing good, you accidentally do evil. You think you're doing or stopping evil, you accidentally do something else. So we practice the
fire
art.
titan.
Well, that is the thing. We know that the gnomes were trying to harness the power related to that creature. But the report that you gave to the prefect and the others after your returning back, I don't think the gnomes meant to release the fire titan. I think that they meant to harness the power of whatever contained it for the purposes of executing the device called the Hand of Fate. I don't think that the Hand of Fate has the necessary power to actually be used. I think that's what they were looking for back in the volcano, back in, what was the name of that place? Titan's Reach or whatever it was, the old city, right? I think they were looking for the power that contained it so that they could harness it and use it for a different purpose. I think when you and your friends stumbled across what they were doing, this other lizard folk, this shaman, this prophet, who was trying to lead his people to some kind of victory on the island, I think he was intending to release the Fire Titan as a way to purge the island and do away with his enemies immediately.
Let us rest tonight, and tomorrow come with us to the teleportation circle that we found. I believe you have the ability to activate that circle. I don't have that ability.
Yes, your friend from Terrell had mentioned your visit there. And we have discussed it as well. Where do you think that circle goes? Everyone seems to think it goes back towards Titan's Reach. Is
that's what I read on
believe
this.
it is?
That's what I read on the circle, is that it goes back to Titan's Reach. And that it's still active.
Interesting. Well, you
also,
certainly yes.
You mentioned that you feel like the veil is a cross between planes. We encountered a place like that on this island.
What do you mean?
In trying to, after we sealed the Obsidian Gate in our travels to get to Titan's Reach, we were assailed by a stone dragon thing, kind of. But it forced us down into forgot the name of the place now. I gotta look at the map. How do I look at pinned messages? There it is. Pinned messages. Got it. Sorry.
I know there's only like 100 pinned messages in Discord.
In the
it's
Mist Veil.
Its own book.
As we tried to fly over the Mist Veil, we were assailed mid-flight and forced down into the Mist Veil itself. When we arrived there, things got strange, but we figured out how to get to the center. And in the center, we found what we suspect, at least I suspect, I don't know if you guys still think that, a great primordial being there, insisting that we return a shard to this great giant gem thing with so many threads of silver coming out of it. It was like a place of convergence, I believe is the term that's been used.
And we saw travelers in the mist from the Feywild.
A lot of travelers.
They were coming and going, paid you no mind, or?
Yeah, they seem to be, moving easily between the planes. We found it very difficult to do.
Fascinating. I think Earthen's statement of convergence might be very accurate. There have been rumors that such a place exists. It is said that at the formation or the founding of Exandria, that there were points of convergence in Exandria that created the opportunity for celestial beings, creatures of dominion, creatures of primordial founding, to traverse the different places of existence, the different planes, the different, dare I say, different multiverses, different places of existence. It's been a topic of mine and the other members of the Assembly for maybe the last 5 years, although we've never been able to find any proof, not since the occurrences of Aeor, back when it nearly re-arrived to the material plane. But Aeor, it is believed that Aeor was maybe part of one of these travels, that where Aeor was, and when the city of Aeor tried to return, was once again further proof that there are places that exist in parallel to our own places of existence. And Aeor existed in parallel somewhere else, while affording us the opportunity of trying to understand these different places of existence. I think Winter has her camera shuttered.
No, actually, I had to be. I was very excited to make it today. I actually just got off work and I'm in the employee parking lot playing.
Nice.
This is my stress reliever for today. I'm committed.
Good. That's what we're always here for. Absolutely.
Oh no, not my dead SSD.
So I think what you and your friends had discovered down in that place, in amidst all of that activity when you were traversing through the volcanic fields, I think you might have discovered one of those points of dominion, one of those primordial convergences that creatures of power use to move things and creatures and themselves in and out of these different verses, these parallel worlds and alternate worlds of creation. Question is with all this information, what do we fucking do next? To be honest with you, I'm a bit overwhelmed myself. Most of this has been conjecture and rumor for the past couple of years, but here we find ourselves on the docks of Gnomeworks to find not only all the proof that you and your friends have acquired, but the proof of the chaos out there in Lucidian Sea around the Shattered Isles.
I think we have to chase that ship. Even if Mason is going to Bondrovia to have some confrontation with Strahd, maybe we don't care about that, but the simulacrum lizards seem intent on something much more cataclysmic.
Cataclysmic in the sense of destroying worlds, or
they tried to release a betrayer god underneath this island.
Oh, I am. Ich bin, how do you say? I'm not a big person of patrons and deities. I don't understand those completely. When you say a betrayer god, you mean like a cult of people that believe in a betrayer god, so they were going to be dangerous, or do you mean an actual
Zahir, the god.
Oh my. Perhaps it is time to get more people involved. I don't necessarily disbelieve or not that. I'm not a big, how should you say, I don't want to offend. I'm not a big believer in the patrons, the deities of the world. I've always put my faith.
We're alike in that sense.
I've always put my faith in the arcane. It is what I can see and what I can do that determines my beliefs. Although if you don't know anything about the arcane, I could see where that would create similar concern as well.
It's people for me. It's people for me.
Hey, Earthen, your internet's going wonky. If you want to jump out and jump back in. And freeze frame. Well, he was freeze frame. Now he's back.
Oh, he's back.
Oh, it never froze on my side. That's wild. No, I just said I'd said it was people for me. Like, you believe in the arcane, I believe in people.
Just while they're kind of discussing this, I'm just gonna sit there and kind of like see if I can find his kitty in the room. The one that's
Oh, it's been sitting there on the table, just staring at you guys the whole time.
I'm just gonna sit there,
like in a very creepy way. Like it just. It doesn't, while it behaves like a cat, it's got the face and personality of like a very inquisitive old man.
Okay. I'm just going to sit there and kind of like scritch behind its ears and just like, Catwood's got you, man. You're good.
It does like the single eyebrow thing up at you and then just kind of starts purring.
See.
While Spot distracts the cat, can I try and hide my coin dragon as like in the form of a coin someplace?
Ooh. Do you want to have it be a coin before you came into the captain's quarters?
Yes.
Okay. Give me sleight of hand with advantage because the others are between the cat being distracted and Earthen and Xanath speaking to Caleb. You have an advantage on this.
God dang it. It's 12.
12.
Hey,
She drops it, it rolls around the floor.
okay. Can I? Yeah, I know I'm sitting there scratching the kitty, but do I know?
You easily pick up on Puck trying to place her coin somewhere because your passive is so good. And just as the cat was about to look towards Puck, you kind of give it a little heavier scrunches to keep it from looking in her direction. But Puck's struggling to try to stash this coin.
All right. Is it still in Puck's hand, or has it?
Oh yeah, it's still in her hand. Like she's trying to find a good place for it. She just can't find a good place to stash it.
All right, I'm gonna kind of like brush my tail over near her, like I'm having a good time, scratching this kitty, like I'm getting into it, but it's kind of like, hey, forget my tail, come on.
Give me I swear to God, I'm going to create a category for you called sleight of tail. Give me a sleight of hand.
Sleight of tail check.
Yeah.
Nice. That is a 19.
Holy shit.
You had to roll really low to get a 19.
Yeah, that's a terrible roll, by the way.
Yeah, it is. So, Puckins, you're trying to find a spot while Spot is like scrunching the ears of the cat. His tail comes over, snatches the coin out of your hand, and just tosses it into the pile of like folded fabrics and tchotchkes and boxes of collections that they've obviously been gathering during their travels. And you hear it go tick, 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 and like land back in the pile. So, what do we do? I know you mentioned you need rest. I understand you just had a very serious fight with the dragon. Maybe on your way back to wherever you're taking a rest, maybe go investigate that dragon. See if there's something more it could offer us in information. I am going to go and find Ford, and then we're going to go get Jester. Shall the three of us meet up with you in a particular place of your choosing? Is there a place that we could meet?
We could meet at the upper levels where the teleportation circle is.
Back at the guild halls, where absolutely we could. The sergeant, the individual that we aided.
Masterson's the one who passed.
Yes.
We could meet at Masterson's at the barracks there.
Very well. We could meet there, start our conversation there, and see if we can't learn more things. Thank you for the talk. And he, you guys kind of have a couple drinks and kind of have some casual conversation, except for Xanath. Xanath never drinks. Kind of gets everybody up from the table and leads the five of you kind of like back out down the gangway towards the docks and says his goodbyes, picks up his cat, puts it on his shoulder, and immediately casts the fly spell and goes off in a direction.
I'm gonna try to like get his attention. Hey, I have a question.
He turns around. Yes, kitty cat. What can I do for you?
It didn't seem appropriate at the time, but like I was just curious because you mentioned potentially sending your kitty, who's a very good kitty, by the way, up to kind of bring Puck's tiger back down. I'm intrigued, basically. Like, how would you accomplish this? Because like I love your kitty, but they're a very small creature.
You didn't see the cat catch the dragon?
I mean, just I'm trying to get a boon out of this, man. Come on, leave me alone.
Well, Frumpkin has his own abilities. He is a particularly special cat with magical abilities as well. He can turn into large things, small things. if you ever take up wizardry and you are afforded the opportunity of a familiar, you will learn a great deal of things about what they're capable of course.
Okay.
But, and as he like floats around you and looks at you, but as long as you're pretending to be a monk, I would wager you should make some better choices.
What is this pretending to
takes
be a
off.
monk thing? Everybody always assumes I'm pretending to be a monk.
Look,
And he takes off.
the way you hid that coin was, very monk-like. Sure.
So you guys are back at the base of the Harbor's Ward. You can see where the platform is still on the ground. There's a contingent of Vasselheim guards around the platform. There's a group of dwarves and other humans that seem to be in the midst of repairing the platform. So it's all cordoned off. You could hear their machinery at work, like they're trying to get it back up and running. While there's a cordon of Vasselheim guards around the dragon, they're not really preventing people from coming in. And, there's already like kids that have climbed up onto like the big back of the creature. And they're like sliding down its tail. And, and you can see, like tinkerers and other people and other gatherers kind of like peeling scales off of it. Or you can see a group of people up by the head of the dragon where they're digging in and pulling out teeth. And you can see a couple butchers like slicing huge chunks of meat out of the skin. Considering it's only been dead for about an hour at best, there's been quite a bit of work done to it at this point. I mean, there's dozens and dozens of people that aren't letting it go to waste at this point. And it seems that the guards are mostly to prevent kind of a sense of riot or looting, like kind of keep the crowds under control. They're not purposely trying to prevent anything. Other than that, currently there's only one available platform for going up and down. So there is quite a long queue for that platform to do the 1,000-foot ascendancy up to the cliffside and the upper tier dwellings of the Gnomeworks. Did we say it was evening last time, or did we say
I
it's
think it was
yeah,
night.
right?
By now,
It's got to
yeah.
be full night at this point.
Yeah. So it's probably mid-evening, not early evening anymore. It's probably about mid-evening at this point. A couple hours away before thinking about taking your long rest. What do you guys want to do?
I'm gonna look at Xanth. Like, you wanna try to talk to this thing?
I mean, are we doubting at this point that this creature is from another plane, or that the myths are a passage between planes?
I mean, the most we know is it's just not from around here, but we don't know if it was sent or if it showed up by accident. I mean, it targeted us.
Yeah, it did target us specifically. Yeah, I feel like this is. I'll kind of turn to the crowd and be like, "We're going to speak briefly to this dragon. It is dead. There's nothing to be afraid of."
Give me a persuasion check on that one.
Not my best skill.
You can
No
have
ins-
advantage, or
no
you can have.
Oh,
inspiration
net
coming from this
20!
one.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's a 23. Nothing to be afraid of. We will briefly speak to this creature before we put it to rest.
You watch as
Urson
one
just
of the-
kind of looks kind of impressed at the eloquence of.
Yeah,
Xanth.
like
So rare for me.
One of
Well
the
done.
one of the Vasselheim contingency guards kind of recognizes you for who you are, and the sergeant looks at the people. All right, you lot, you heard her. Step away. You five over there, help get that cordon going. Get everyone off. You children, off the dragon now. You up by the head. You don't want to be digging out teeth now. And like they spend the next 5 minutes kind of coordinate everybody off and just kind of clearing the immediate area around the dragon. I'm assuming you're a priestess of the Helm Temple. We'll keep everybody back for you. You go ahead and do what you need to do. And he just kind of goes and stands away and kind of just stares with a little bit of awe, like he's expecting to see something really cool happen.
I will
You got
walk
this.
up. This is so gross every time I cast it. I'll walk up and delicately put my hand on the dragon's head and cast Speak with Dead.
Okay. Within moments of the cast being done, its huge lidless eye that's kind of suffered from damage, it's like, and the head kind of lifts up slightly, and the whole head and neck kind of lolls over, and like pus and other shit's like dripping out of its skull. What do you want? Why? Yet. I think I'm dead. Oh, this is bad. Oh, this is really bad. Oh, sorry.
Where did you come from, sir?
Where do I come from? I come from the Windless Peaks.
Do we know the Windless Peaks?
I have a place you've ever heard of, not in Exandria.
What brought you to us?
I'm not really sure. I was lost in a storm of sorts. A strange storm. I figured I'd fly through it to get to the other side. The Arachnan Desert is, well, it's dangerous, but worth the risk if you know where you're going.
Were you looking to attack us specifically, or were you just looking for food?
Well, to be fair, that's two questions. Are you sure you want to ask me those?
I think that's one question. That's what was your purpose?
It's a
Oh, well, that
compound
sounds more like
question.
one question, for sure.
Yeah, there's a semicolon there. It's fine, man.
To be honest, I think I found you by accident. I'd been traveling for a while and grew quite hungry. Never seen so much water in my life, ever. You see where I come from. There's no water. It's just unending desert all around. If I had this much water, I'd be powerful amongst the dragon lords for sure. To answer your question, I think I came across you accidentally.
Can I ask a rhetorical question? If
That
you,
still counts as one.
And,
that wasn't directed at you. That was directed at
Like Winter quickly puts up her hand across Spot's mouth. So you have two questions left.
Is there anything else you want to know?
What's his name?
What's your name?
Oh, my name is Bluewing. Well, that's what the Dragon Lords call me. My real name is so long you couldn't possibly pronounce it.
Could you spell it? No, wait, that's a
No, I
question.
don't know.
no.
Don't you try and D&D movie me.
hey, Sam, just ask it, just think it hey, if you were flying over an ocean, why didn't you do some wizard fishing and just electrocute I don't know, a patch and just gorge yourself?
Or do we want to ask it if it serves anyone? It keeps talking about those dragon lords. Maybe that's a hint.
Who did you serve when you were alive?
Oh, technically I served myself. I served under the tutelage of the Dragon Lords. They hold sway over the throne and where I'm from, on Athos. But, of course, I fled Athos, but I don't think I'm in Athos anymore. And the whole neck goes limp, the head goes limp, and crashes to the ground.
I'm so glad his head was over there, not over here. Did you see the pus come out?
Oh.
Can Puck go over to its face and kind of spoon out the eye?
That eye's like as big as you are. Isn't it?
Spoon or shovel?
The shovel spoon the eye out.
Yeah, like you
Yes.
pull out your small camping shovel out of your backpack and you just start like coursing around it, trying to dig into it, and like trying to pop it out.
She falls to the pupil.
Give me either a medicine check or survival check. Your choice.
All right.
And if anybody wants to help her, you can give her advantage.
All right,
I'll help
I
her.
will give her a hand.
Okay, so you have advantage.
There's pus over there. I'm not touching that.
I am rolling absolute crap
Wuss.
today. This is 11.
Not wuss. I don't want
Was
to.
that with advantage too?
Yes, the original was a 2. So
Oh,
the second one was a 5.
So
Today is not
as
my day.
Xanth and Spot come over to help you, and they kind of hold you up there while you're digging at this huge eye. The shovel slips in your hand and accidentally shreds the eye, like it comes back out through the eye. The eye ruptures, and all three of you are covered in eye juice.
Ew,
Oh my God.
aqueous fluid. Ew.
And that exactly is why. That is why.
All right. Hey.
Okay, I pull out what I can and I feed it to my tiger.
Oh.
You're like, well, you pull some of it off your head and your hair, and kind of you put a big gelatinous kind of pile of shredded eye meat down on the ground for your tiger. Immediately just starts eating it voraciously.
Aw, that's a good boy.
Think he's gonna start like coughing lightning after that?
I think he's earned it.
Explosion of static energy comes out.
His
That's
fur is
rather
like standing
ridiculous.
on end now.
Hey, while we're up on the corpse, I kind of want to do two things.
Here it
But-
comes.
No. Like one thing is like none of these are going to be that bad. I do want to start gathering like teeth and
Famous
scales,
last
just
word.
things that I want to that I think would be useful in just for us, just crafting stuff. And
Survival or medicine check. Either one, your choice.
let me see what I have better: medicine or survival. Okay, either one. All right, that is a 12 survival check.
Unfortunately, every time you try to harvest anything from it, starting with the scales, pulling it apart and getting it off of its skin seems to damage the scales to the point that they crack or come apart when you pull them off. It's harvesting this dragon's not easy, and you can tell by watching other people. It's like as soon as Xanth is done and the crowds begin to swarm back onto it again, you begin to realize that it's just it's a pretty hardy beast, and the skin and scales seem to be very. In fact,
Actually,
Puck, give me a nature check really quick.
right.
While
Well,
she's
she's
doing it,
doing
can I look at the crowd and see if anyone has managed to pop any pieces off and go and like
Yeah,
try
give me a
and talk them
perception
out of
check
it?
as you look around. And then Spot, you said you want to do a second thing?
Well, this is backtracking a little bit. Now that I kind of know the scales are more likely to break, wherever, can I kind of go at a slower pace and use my Quicksilver claws to kind of maybe not give me advantage, but help me out?
No,
a little bit?
actually you could. So like survival or medicine check with advantage. What'd you get, Puck?
19.
19? While you're watching Spot harvest these scales and seeing the way that the scales and skin are behaving, this dragon is not from Exandria. The dragons that you've dealt with in the past on Exandria, the scales and skin are not this infused or this kind of overlapping. This dragon is definitely not from Exandria.
Oh. Well, it's traveled a long way to get here. Winter, you're familiar a little bit with the courtly world that is kind of beyond our realm. Do you know anything of those kings and lords he was talking about?
Am I allowed to do a history check?
Yeah,
Or
go
is it-
for it.
Is it a history check? Yeah, I think it is. Okay.
Yeah, you can do a history check.
All right. Oh, okay. Sorry. 17 nature check on that.
Okay.
I imagine this is not going to be successful, but the second thing I want to do, it is a dragon. Do I see any indication that it carried any, dragons have hordes. Jesse, any indication that there's like interesting things that aren't like its teeth or
with
scales?
your passive, this dragon is devoid of any kind of like wealth or anything related to its hoard, primarily because you're not in its lair. But overall, I mean, you're not even so sure that this dragon was capable of being overtly all that magical. The magic that it was using was pretty tame in comparison to some of the rumors of what some dragons are capable of using. Once again, it's feral nature, it's abrupt, kind of brutish behavior. It behaved quite uniquely.
I rolled a 23 on that perception check, by the way.
Okay.
I rolled a 17 on history.
Okay. So Puck and Winter start chatting about Dragon Lords, Athos. So Winter, you're actually familiar with the name Athos. Athos is a different world entirely within the Astral Sea. You haven't specifically visited it before, and while you don't know a lot about the reference to the Dragon Lords, Athos is a completely barren world that's said to be devoid of any water whatsoever, and it had suffered a cataclysmic arcane effect that destroyed it and made it virtually lifeless and a very harsh place to exist. And while you know that there's a domain of dragon lords that are said to rule over Atlas, that's about all you know. You've never actually traveled there, but there have been fae that have traveled there before to kind of tell tales of the world, but it is a dark place.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Winter.
Puck heard all that, correct?
Yeah, you could just say that you relate to Puck everything that she asked you, and then that way what I said she just picked up on.
Okay.
Spot, with that roll, you managed to solve the problem by dissecting the skin so that the scales remain intact on the skin, and you harvest about a 5-foot long, 3-foot wide piece of skin that you just need to have cured. Okay. And it might make a good scaled leather or other properties for all you know.
All right. Did I get any teeth?
It'll take you another hour to try to harvest some teeth if you want to do that.
Sure.
Okay. Give me another. If you're going to use your claws, your Quicksilver claws, go ahead and give me another.
Survival or whatever.
Yep. With advantage because you're using your claws. They're pretty much almost like adamantium claws at this point.
19 on that.
19. You harvest a dozen of its small teeth. Okay. And one particularly large fang that you found inside of its mouth as well.
Was I able to see anybody in the crowd that was actually able to pick pieces off of the dragon?
What you saw is a lot of poorly skilled people, with one exception. In and amongst the crowd, you see a familiar mouse folk.
I want to sidle up to him. Hey, Matron! Long time no see, buddy.
Oh, hey, Earthen. Good to see you. I didn't recognize you out there in the crowd. Well, by the way, is that you and your friends that just killed this thing? Is that you're doing?
Yep.
Very cool. I've been harvesting its, blue dragons. They could really help you with components and other things you might try to make as well. Although, I have to be honest, never seen a blue dragon like this before. And not quite in its element, is it?
No, not from around here. What'd you get from the dragon there?
Let's see here. I got some scale skin and some of the meat. More particularly, I found its gland for how it produces its breath weapon, and I got a couple other things out of it, bits of bone and other things.
You wouldn't want to part with a piece of that bone, would you?
Well, I wouldn't mind. How much you need?
Just a bit. I just need something I can hold on to. Spell casting, you know.
Just a bit for spell casting.
Yeah.
Sure, I'll see why not. He kind of like cracks a 6-inch long piece of bone and hands it off to you.
Appreciate it. That made it a lot easier. Spot wasn't having very good luck with it, and I see you're quite talented.
Oh, well, I tried to be.
Just kind of-
Just for my alchemy lab and producing things and such.
Is Earthen still kind of relatively close to me?
No, I'd say he'd gone over to the crowd to talk
Okay,
to.
so he's out of earshot saying that.
Yeah.
Okay. Damn it.
Because you're up at the dragon in the midst of harvesting all the bits and bobs.
All right.
I would say Xanath and Puck and Winter would probably be a little bit closer to where Earthen's drifted off to the crowd to talk to Matrone.
So, Matrone, there's some other people here that have had a lot of interest in this place. I don't know how much you know of them, but I trust that you have the island's best interests at heart.
No,
Please
well,
keep-
I mean, I'm
please
not
keep it like
exactly invited to the council meetings and all, but I'm sure I could provide you with some insight.
Do you want to be invited to the council meetings?
Oh no, fuck no, I'm good without that.
I didn't think so, but
I live in a tree
I'm-
out in the middle of nowhere for a reason. That's
oh no,
probably
I
why
well
do that.
I well understood. That's why I said you have the island's best interest at heart.
Do I? If I'm completely isolated in my own tree out in the middle of the jungle, does that really mean I have the island's interest in my best heart? I'm just fucking with you, and of course I do.
I
I've been
miss you,
drinking
Matrone.
heavily too, so it's
Yeah,
kind of one
I-
of those days.
I imagine you can get some kind of shocking brew out of this stuff, but I appreciate the piece of bone. If you get wind of anything wild, you know who I am, so you know how to get me a message.
Yeah, I could do that.
All right. Let me see something because I don't know how I do this. I'm basically done harvesting what I'm going to get, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to take you, like, you're still busy harvesting. It's like, it was an hour for the skin and like an hour for the teeth. So this is all kind of simultaneous at the same time. Earthen's over talking to Matron. Winter and Puck were just conversing about some history of this dragon related to it. Xanath, what's your passive perception? It's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 25.
Pretty good.
Out amongst the crowd, you recognize your prefect of the, like, you could see her over talking to some of the community of the Harvest Ward. She also seems to be attending to some wounds of those that survived the encounter on the platform. She doesn't notice you really, or specifically, you just notice her kind of administering to the crowd.
I think I'll approach and stand a little off, but within view, and kind of try and catch her eye for when she has a minute.
She, you watch as she places her hand on a wounded shoulder, and she kind of, that should be much better now. The shoulder kind of flares with that divine energy, and as she stands to look at the crowd, Korvarak sees you and her eyebrows raise, and she smiles and comes over to you. Xanath, that was quite the experience. The temple had gotten word that there had been an altercation down in the Harbor's Wood. I was not expecting to see a dragon, see you and your friends involved. Is everything okay? Are your friends okay? Does anybody need anything?
We've managed it, and with the assistance of Caleb, who says that he's spoken to you.
Ah, yes, Caleb, a very energetic young man.
He is for sure energetic and full of conviction.
Yes.
And you rushed down immediately?
I did. Primarily because we are all on a bit of edge since the occurrence at Titan's Reach. I also was on my way down to meet up with the caretaker from Vasselheim. Both Pike and Alora are said to be here. I was on my way to the Vasselheim flagship to meet up with them and discuss the beginnings of the transition from Vasselheim's caretakership and to the reestablishment of the council. I have been offered up as one of the seats, although the majority of the seats will be held by the former people of the Underdwell, as well as some of the more, how shall we say, established gnome population that aren't related to guilds. A bit of a more locals only kind of council.
How large will the council be?
I think they are trying to put together a seat of 5 to make sure that they are never deadlocked. I believe the Underdwelt, including the others that your friend Earthen had dealt with, will be the majority holders. I myself and one other individual will be on the council as well. For the merchants of the city, myself for the religious establishment of the city, and the 3 remaining seats being the members of the Underdwelt and Gnome community, those that aided in fighting back against the copper makers and the copper takers.
Have you spoken to your fellow potential council members? Are they resistant to you joining?
Not particularly. We've already met on 2 or 3 occasions to discuss the preamble, the documentation, and for the most part, we intend to establish a similar a method of council that the Taldori Council uses, the representative council. The seat will exchange every 2 years to a new council member to invite and encourage other established populations. As you can see, she waves towards the harbor. There are a lot of ships coming to this place, far more than there were before. Whatever the copper takers and copper makers were doing to keep this place hidden, well, we can certainly agree that it's been undone.
The dragon that came through, you may already have noticed, is not from this plane, or doesn't seem to be. And I don't think this is the first incursion of a creature from another plane. And from what Caleb says, these incursions are getting more frequent.
She looks at you with a bit of, she's not shocked by your statement at all. And then she looks over where Spot is kind of harvesting. She's looking over to where Earthen is talking to Matrone and where Winter and Puck are kind of in quiet consultation with each other. She puts her arm around your shoulders and kind of guides you a little bit away from the crowds to a corner of an alleyway and building to give you guys some privacy. This dragon, I've never seen its like before. Well, she looks around. We have a creature contained down in the basement of the temple. We don't know where it's from. We don't understand even what it is, but it's unlike anything we've ever seen before. And I dare say call it a creature as much as I think it's humanoid. But it definitely shows some unique qualities that we've never experienced before. To keep it safe from the copper takers and the copper makers, we kept it hidden. We were afraid that they would kill it, extract it, and use it for whatever other purposes they had in mind. But we've kept it hidden away, unsure as what to do. But the recent arrival of Caleb and the others, and now this dragon attack, I'm not so sure it wouldn't be too wise or unwise to have you and your friends possibly speak with this creature.
Yeah, I think we'd like to do that. You haven't, have you been able to speak with it?
Oh yes. It claims that it calls itself a Githyanki. I'm not entirely sure what that is. They claim to be from a place called the Astral Sea. Well, our understanding of the different planes of existence allows us to understand where the Astral Sea is. We are hard pressed to believe that it could or could not be from there. We're not sure. They said that they traveled here by mistake. They were caught in some kind of ionic astral storm. Their ship was destroyed. He was discarded by, had fallen overboard from his ship, and he remembered waking up out in our bay.
We're hearing these same stories over and over again. People just dragged into this plane by accident and finding themselves here.
Ken,
Excuse me.
I have been thinking, what if everybody's right? What if that place, that you were originally sent to go to, the Shattered Isles, there's always been a lot of contention about how those islands came into existence. It's always been said that during the time of Cataclysm, when the gods fought and the Titans fought, and during their battle, that the islands were made during the struggle. I mean, the idea of founding and creation is always left up to interpretation. But is it possible that maybe those islands aren't actually from here? I mean, rarely anybody penetrates that veil. There's always been an understanding that the islands are a place of, well, mystery and unknown properties. But I'm beginning to wonder, what if the islands themselves are a part of all this? What if to traverse the veil sends you someplace else, and what have been described as islands maybe aren't even a part of our world? Maybe you go to another place of existence. Maybe that's why no visit's ever quite the same. There's been entire ships that never come back. Very few have ever reported on what they've seen or their findings. What if all of this somehow linked to why the gnomes were so obsessed with not only finding that stone of power, what if they were trying to harness it with the purpose of using those gateways for some reason? What if there was something? I mean, think about the amount of residuum that you and your friends found. That's a lot of residuum. Puck had mentioned her conversation with that Draxelhaven. What if he is from one of these other worlds? And why is it that the merfolk seem to be so persuasive over their control of the access to the Isles?
It's possible. It's the more that we're hearing about this, the more insanely dangerous this seems. It seems crazy to pursue access to these isles for the purpose of like basic commerce, but I can see it being something the copper takers would do. I'm just worried about, I think we have to go through, but I don't know how we're going to do it.
Well, Some of the scholars have been working on some things for the past couple days, and they are all in agreement that if things were to go poorly, you should have an escape plan for whatever you do. She reaches into the folds of her robes and she pulls out a scroll and she hands it to you. They worked very hard to find this, and they believe that this will aid you and your friends in case things do go poorly. It is a
What is it?
scroll of plane shift. Now, my understanding, according to the scholars, is that if you read this scroll and invoke its magical properties, you can think or be in possession of an item of a plane of existence, and it will take you there directly, regardless of your situation. If you find you and your friends shifting in and out of places of existence during your travels, perhaps this scroll can help you come back.
I'll take it and stow it in my robe.
So you and your friends intend to go through with this then?
I think I have to. I think they're with me.
And you have a vessel, a boat to do this
We
with?
do. We do.
And a crew?
Yes.
Good. Do you know... Well, don't tell me. It's not important. When you do leave, be sure to take a moment of prayer before you go. Ask Helm for guidance. I would also say the closer you get to these shifts, these rifts, these planar distinctions that seem to be coalescing around the Shadowed Isles, see if he's there. See if his shadow lingers in those spaces. It's said that sometimes when you're in areas of in-between, sometimes you can feel their presence. Sometimes divinity feels a little bit closer than under normal circumstances. It doesn't hurt to reach out in case you do need that kind of divine help.
I'll look for him.
May Helm be with you, Xanath. I am going to cater to the rest of the crowd, see if there's any other injuries I can do before going to the flagship. If you need anything, you and your friends are always welcome at the temple.
Understood. I'll let her go.
And she just kind of stops to talk to a couple people and then moves. And she can't quite seem to get through the crowd without like giving out some coin, helping some people, like kind of doing that kind of thing that prefects do that are in charge of temples. But soon you kind of wander back over towards Winterpuck and Earthen. Spot covered in dragon blood and viscera of harvesting skin and teeth eventually wanders over to join. The five of you are kind of huddled around. The crowd's beginning to fade. Most of what's going on now is that the dragon is being vivisected into movable portions to be taken away gradually. But the crowd's beginning to drift away. The fun and the kind of awe of the circumstance, kind of the shine of it wearing off. It's now late evening at this point.
Just curious, do I notice anybody kind of like struggling to like remove some meat or anything for it? Just people that kind of, this is a boon for them. Like, this is food. They want to get as much as possible there. It was pretty much
not really. Most of the crowd, your passive is good enough. You pick up on the fact that most of the crowd has drifted off. The remaining contingent of folks seem to be kind of under the tutelage of the guard, the Vasselheim guard, and just kind of keeping watch over them that they don't get interfered with, as they're literally taking these large cutting devices, like these large saws, and they're like a leg comes off, and they kind of haul it over to a huge cart. It's the unfortunate reality that you can't leave a 100-foot-long dragon in the middle of a very busy intersection. So they're just kind of pulling it apart with the intention of, taking it over to the beach area for it to just kind of be tossed out into the sea.
I hear if you leave it there long enough, it'll blow up.
Can I go,
That's only whales, and that's only if you let politicians get involved.
But the guys that are there are kind of they're there in an official capacity, basically. They're not just random people.
Yeah, they don't feel like randos coming and going anymore. It feels like it's, they let the crowd have its fun for a few hours to get most of the harvested meat and value off of it. Now it's just cordoned off as they're wrapping up the repairs on the platform, and they're beginning to haul away the huge chunks of the dragon to dispose of it.
All right. I do kind of want to talk to somebody that looks like they might be in charge. Just offer my my services for a thing real fast.
Xanath would point out the sergeant that she had spoken with earlier, and you kind of she points him out, and the sergeant watches you approach. Is there something I can do for you?
Well, I just wanted to check with you guys. Just want to make sure. I've had my fun. I have all my stuff. I know there's not a lot left, but I wanted to see if maybe you could use a skilled chef in this. I can help butcher any remaining meat to be given out to anyone in need here. I know you're kind of dissecting the corpse to get rid of it, but I'm not really doing anything. I can.
Well, if you want to continue harvesting meat from it, by all means, feel free. We're not really doing much with it other than just getting it out of the harvest ward.
All right. Is there some organization that might be able to benefit from this? Like, I'm not going to make it have any use for tens or hundreds of pounds of dragon meat, but
I mean, I'm not entirely sure. I mean, most of the folk working on it now are part of the Butchers Guild. They'll see to what they harvest gets doled out to the different members of the community, and preservation of the meat to be used for either study, alchemy, magics, or purposes of serving meat to the general population for market sale. To be honest with you, I don't really get that involved.
Okay. Well, appreciate your time. I just kind of want to go see if I can find somebody.
I've got to ask you, though, do you pick his pocket while you're having a conversation with him?
No, he hasn't pissed me off. Wait, look, for all the shit I did about
you off, but you're always picking my pockets.
Yeah, but I give it back. You gotta remember, for all the shit I did about being a bad monk, I am still chaotic good. True. I'm not gonna just.
I mean, so does that mean if I kill you and then revivify you, it's okay? I mean, I brought you back.
Yeah. I'm a cat. I have 9 lives, man. How many do I have left? Does this count?
Is this the first life?
That's classified information. But
that's classified information.
But Earthen, if you do that, do I get one of my punches back, or does it still count?
Oh my God. Earthen keeps a little card in his pouch with tabaxi faces on it. There's already 3 holes punched in the tabaxi card.
See, well, there was the yeeting off of the mast. Before that was the touching of the door, getting the shit.
I didn't die from that.
There was the
hurt
yeeting,
a lot.
There was the yeeting off the mast. The yeeting off the mast, riding that gravelly thing into the mist and getting lost for all of us.
Oh yeah,
I didn't die on that.
That was close.
You try to make love to a dryad in the forest. I mean, at least
you've made some bad choices, Spot. I think what Earthen's trying to say is you've made some unique choices.
You ate soup from the shit bucket. We
right.
all did, technically, but you ate soup from the shit bucket.
Yeah, but then I beat everything in my power.
I think this is the point where it's time to leave.
Yeah, you guys watch, it's Winter, Puck, and Xanath just look at Earthen and Spot's conversation. Okay, it's time to go.
I don't know them.
Guys, come here. And I'm going to pull up my vial. I'm going to cast Fly on my ring. I pull up my vial and start playing so I can summon Bigby's hand. because assuming
Oh.
there's still quite a line there. So
Yeah.
come on, guys.
All right. I was going to check in with one of the butchers and like genuinely offer my help. Like,
But
He's
they
fine.
would-
He's fine.
Yeah, they
we
would
can
turn
go.
you
He's fine.
down because number one, they're not all that familiar with you,
Mhm.
but they're also Tabaxi in this city have kind of a reputation. So they're like, we appreciate the idea, but we're gonna pass. You know, they just don't want that much
Hurtful.
chaos around them right now.
hurtful. I'm not saying accurate, but hurtful.
So what? So what do you make Dragon Punch from anyway? Like that's what I'm discussing as I'm playing. Is we're elevating off with Bigby's hand.
And you're breaking up really bad. Like I could not understand any of that.
Sorry, I said as I'm playing for Bigby's hand, I'm asking what Dragon Punch is made from anyway, since that's the stuff that you guys were getting so hammered on, and there's a big dead dragon there. So
I'm not a brewer, but I have a feeling that that's a metaphor, not like I don't think you can. Yes, I guess it's technically possible.
It was
Yeah,
pretty
it's called-
acidic.
Yeah, you would know. Yeah, Spot, you would know it's called Dragon Punch because of its alcoholic effect.
Yeah,
Like it hits you like a dragon.
yeah. It's like that's not what that. Yeah, that's metaphor, bud.
So, just to manage our time here, because it seems like it's going to come to an end maybe very soon if we want to catch up with Mason. We still haven't gotten to go to the Red Eye, and there has been so much indicating that that's a place we should be going to before we leave. As far as like the Red Eye of the octopus thing. And also Winter and I said we'd go get hammered. And something always happens right as we're about to go get hammered.
look, I mean, I can drop you guys off on the way up, but
I'm tanked.
after this, I'm spent. Yeah,
Winter, are you down to go to the casino?
shenanigans.
I'm down. Me and my
Yes.
little light.
This is classic shenanigans.
Yeah, just you just got to ask if you're down for shenanigans, okay?
Yes, covered in dragon guts and ready for some good luck to come our way.
I'm shocked that you're not inviting Spot along for the shenanigans. Honestly,
Spots, would you like some shenanigans?
I would like some shenanigans, but
what?
What?
Do I hear an adult? Like you're all on Bigsby's
Like,
head and it stops
I-
floating. Like it literally stops floating.
The violin
And
switches
everybody
it
looks at
it-
Spot like, what?
I'm into it. But what? Sorry, I'm trying to do something in the background. Yeah. All right, shenanigans sounds good. Shenanigans sounds like some fun. Let's do some shenanigans.
Because you don't sound excited about it.
I'm covered in viscera.
That's never.
He is covered. Like he's been harvesting a blue dragon all night, so he's
You run around
a bit
naked and you're
sticky
talking
and
about
smelly,
being
for
covered
sure.
in viscera. What's wrong with you?
Okay, shenanigans it is. The three musketeers.
The Chaos Crew.
the Chaos Crew. So the three of you are going to the Red Eye Casino. Earthen and Xanath, where are you heading off to?
I'm simple. I have nothing left to do.
Yeah, I guess to bed.
Yeah.
Earthen's
Early to bed,
gonna go
early to
get a new
rise.
router.
I've got like first and second level spells left, so
Oh,
not a ton I
hey,
can do at this point.
you said it's kind of early evening. It's not like getting into like
No, it's
super
late
late
evening now
Oh,
because
okay.
you guys spent a couple hours down at the
No, it's-
Dragon.
Wait, no,
Yes.
Xanath never gambled before. I think Xanath should come with us and gamble. You don't need to cast spells. You just need to cast the dice.
You know, I would be totally down for this adventure tomorrow morning. I feel like that I would be super happy to back you guys up.
Maybe we just go track them down in the morning.
Yeah.
That seems fair. Okay, you guys will be one level ahead of us then. Okay, so yeah, I guess we're gonna go to the casino and just gamble and keep our. I mean, yeah.
So as soon as Bixby's hand brings everybody up to the top level, allowing you access to the entertainment district off to the right, So Puck, Winter, and Spot are heading towards the entertainment district. Xanath and Earthen, where are you two heading off to?
Oh, I'm going back to the temple.
Yeah.
I'm bent.
Okay.
I suppose
Xanath,
we
same
could talk
thing?
to yeah, back to the temple. We could go talk to the Githyanki tonight, which I told you guys about on the way up. Or we could wait till tomorrow.
Get the Yankee.
Yeah, they say that it's another case of a weird creature being found in the sea, claiming to be from another plane. This creature is from the astral sea, and they've been hiding it for the past several weeks.
Secrets don't make friends.
Well,
Sure,
he
let's
did
go.
share the secret with us.
Yeah, after several weeks. I guess we were nobodies, but
We still are.
sure. Let's go look up the Get Yankee.
Githyanki.
Whatever that thing is.
Sounds like a plan.
I guess we're on our own shenanigans now.
It's almost like watching the internet run out of fuel tonight.
Mm-hmm. It was a rough night for technical issues.
Well, I don't know. It's like
Weird.
Tally's internet's been great. Normally, Earth has gotten it back up, but you keep getting like every now and then this weird kind of like, yep, there it goes again. Just froze again, right? Not just me.
Yeah.
Weird. This is kind of like what
Huh.
it used to do to you like about a month or so ago. Remember
Yeah,
that?
well, yeah, at that time it would freeze on my end too, and my end has been smooth all night. That's what's so weird.
If that's the case, it might be your ISP tonight. It might be your internet service provider that's slowing things down up to the StreamYard farm.
Yeah.
So Earthen and Xanath heading back to the temple to see if you could talk to the Githyanki. Puck, Winter, and Spot heading to the Red Eye Casino. The casino, as you remember it from the outside, and Spot's interaction with it from the inside, the three of you go into a place that looks like it's just getting started. Like the crowds of people that have come in here, and you could see all manner of types of people in here, like guards who are off duty, maybe people that have been traveling with the ships that are now at anchor in the harbor. And to its credit, now that you've seen it, Spot's already seen it, but now that both Winter and Puck have gone inside, hanging over the very center mass of the central portion of the casino is this massive beholder effigy. It's like it's constructed in such a way that while the red eye beholder of the effigy outside that denotes it as the Red Eye Casino, inside they've rebuilt this massive like beholder representation, probably to inspire like awe and like, you know, just to give everyone that kind of grandiose feel that they're inside of a place of entertainment and value and worth. You can hear people in the background, you know, yelling out card denotations, dice rolls. There's people sitting at tables, all manner of gambling going on all around you. Heavy drinking as well. A lot of drinking going on in this place. They don't have a traditional bar area. It's kind of like a cart bar where people are moving these carts filled with all manner of like bottles and tankards, and they'll stop. People will grab off the cart and then throw coins in a small kind of like bucket that's on the cart. One of the cart purveyors like stops in front of you, Puck, Winter, and Spot, and he looks up and goes, "What are you drinking tonight, folks?"
Your hardest bullshit.
Okay, a Ludendorff whiskey it is. Reaches underneath and hands you a bottle. And what about you, Miss, Sarah, Kitty? Maybe I don't.
I didn't realize I was muted. My apologies. Just something to get me mildly nipped up. I have some ideas for the night. I don't need to get it all out right. And you get it all
All right.
fuzzy.
A little Drusian ale. Here you go. And you, what can I get you?
Scotch, because I just tried that recently.
Nice.
Oh, okay. Some Sobachian scotch. I could get that for you here. That'll be 3 gold if you have it.
I'll go ahead and flip 3 gold onto the bar.
Throws it in the bucket. The cart trundles away. The 3 of you are inside the casino. What do you want to do?
So
I want to look for
oddly-
someone just being a complete asshole. Like not necessarily violent, but just yelling and just making a complete jerk of themselves.
Somebody being over the top.
So like deliberately being like, not necessarily like. I'm trying to think of how to phrase this on very little sleep, but someone who is being a jerk to people that don't deserve it, like whether that's the help or just other patrons.
Okay. What do you want to do, Puck? Winter?
So I believe this is like Winter's turn to plan the shenanigans, since last time it was the pirate disaster situation. So Winter has full control.
Can we go pickpocket people?
Yes.
Oh,
I'm not great at
oh,
that,
oh,
but
okay, my internet
I will
is
be a
like-
distraction.
This is what happens when there's no supervision from the parents. It goes off the rails immediately.
You know, we're all
Who do
being responsible.
who do you want to pickpockets?
I don't know, because, like, the drunker the better, because they're not very aware.
All right, so Puck and Winter, give me perception checks. Spot, give me perception
Okay.
check as well. As the trifecta of chaos is now scanning the crowd for targets.
All right, can I use my passive perception on that? My 19.
No, because you're looking specific. You're being
Okay.
passive is for when you're not looking for things.
Okay.
In this case, you're being very specific.
Okay. I only got a 14 on that.
I got a 26.
Ooh, what'd you get, Puck?
A 9.
A 9. So, Winter, sensing Spot's despondency, you tap him on the shoulder and you turn him in the direction, and you can see that a very, very drunk hobgoblin wearing very fine clothing and kind of has caretakers with him, people that could be described as either body servants or people that, foot servants that are designed to cater to his will. He's very drunk and he's being very loud and he's being very obnoxious. And you point Spot in the direction of the gambling table that's taking place, and you just kind of whisper in his ear, "Have fun, dear." And you just kind of push him in that direction. You grab Puck's hand as you see a very crowded floor of people drinking, talking, and kind of watching the bardic display. And it looks like a good opportunity just to kind of get into a heavy crowded area and see and practice this pickpocketing thing and see what you could find.
Ooh.
Spot, stepping away from the others, this yellow and orange-skinned hobgoblin at the top of his voice. "I've never had such horrible booze in such a disrespectful place. I demand to be comped for all of my activity." He's just being raucous and boisterous. The staff are looking at him like, "Oh, somebody get rid of this piece of shit." It's just that whole awkward bathtub of cringe going on around the hobgoblin.
Do I see anyone, any like employees, any dealers, anything like that? Just any serving personnel, like anyone that's kind of.
They seem to be rolling dice, is what they seem to be doing.
Okay. All right, I'm just gonna kind of sidle up to him and just be like, "Hey, buddy."
Oh, who let this damn flea bag in here? There's no pets allowed in here. Get rid of this creature.
I'm a sentient being.
You watch one of the
tabaxi?
caretakers steps in between you and the hobgoblin. I'm sure you're sentient. Could you be sentient 10 feet away? Thank you. Step away, please.
I mean, I heard him talking about the quality of the alcohol here. I mean, I have some experience with this. I might be able to
Give me a persuasion check as you're saying that.
just.
Can I use dexterity?
Oh god damn it! That is a natural one. That is a crit fail.
Oh no.
You watch as both caretakers like step in front of you, and they're like, "We have our own reserved alcohol. Thank you very much."
So why is he complaining about it? Why is he complaining about this stuff here?
It's just the way he is. Please step away. And they kind of like move you a few feet back and go back to standing on either side. Now give me those dice right now. They better not be loaded dice either. I'll wipe out this casino. He grabs the dice and he rolls them. They clack, 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 clack across the table. Ah, knuckles up, knuckles up. I win again. What's your passive perception, Spot?
19.
You watched one of the caretakers slip a pair of dice to the hobgoblin just before he rolled dice. You get the feeling that he's the one using loaded dice. You can see the despondency on the guy running the table, and you can see a pile of coins in front of the hobgoblin, and you could tell that this table's getting run. This is a scam. You're not even sure that the guy's really being truthful in his kind of like behavior. This feels like 3 thieves running a scam to you.
I do want to say something kind of under my breath in Thieves' Cant, just to make sure that I'm not going to get like horribly piss off any guild members here. Just like,
what do you want to say?
Just be sure this is smart.
You say that in Thieves' Cant?
Yeah.
Give me persuasion or intimidation. Your choice.
I think my intimidation is a lot better. Actually, yeah, it is actually. Well, they're identical. We'll try that. Oh god, I'm rolling crap. That's a 7 intimidation.
The crowd's too loud. You don't get the feeling they heard you.
All right. Can I kind of lock eyes with the sorry, I don't even know what to call them for the house staff.
Okay.
The one that's losing them. All right, I just kind of want to give him a quick wink, and I'm going to wait until the next roll comes up. I'm going to try to interrupt his guy giving him new dice.
Okay.
So,
all the bets get put out on the table. The dice are handed to the hobgoblin. And that's when you see the hobgoblin hand drop to the side, just as one of the caretakers' hand, like, kind of is about to brush up against the hobgoblin's hand.
All right. So I'm gonna. Is this the way this table is being run? Is it single bets only, or can anyone put down money?
Anyone can put money down.
Okay. I'm going to try to steal the dice the helper is trying to get, and I'm going to put my own bet.
Okay. How much are you betting?
I'll go to... sorry, I got to delete my 3 gold from... 3... I'm going to go like super big on this just to fuck with the guy. I'm going to go 50 gold.
Okay. You plop down 50 gold. Give me a sleight of hand check as you go to grab the dice before you can give them to the hobgoblin.
That is a 27.
So the way you do it, it makes the hobgoblin feel like the switch happened. Neither of them are aware. You kind of bump in such a way that they're just not aware that you intercept the dice, and now he is throwing regular dice, right? You took the loaded dice?
Yeah.
Okay. So he chucks the dice that he thinks are loaded, and they come up single digit knuckles down. And he looks at the table, and he looks at the caretaker and back at the table. What is this? And you just watch as everybody goes, oh, there's like this huge relief on the guy's face. The dealer or the the guy who's in charge of the table. You watch as everybody's money is pulled in. So were you betting for or against the house when you put down your 50 gold?
Oh, I thought I was rolling the. Sorry. I was betting with the house, basically. I wanted
With the
him to
house.
lose.
Okay. So since you were betting with the house and the house was betting on him losing, you now have 250 gold as 25 platinum is like slid over towards you, so that you know, because you house wins, everybody else loses, and you're the only one that wins. You watch as all three of them kind of stare at you with a kind of look on their face like, you motherfucker. You know, like they picked up maybe on what you might have done.
I'm going to kind of sip my drink and just say in Thieves' Cant, kind of like, is this, you sure this was a good idea? Or drawing a little of too much attention, aren't you?
So, as that chaos is about to unfurl, Winter and Puck, with your natural shortness of height and Winter's ability to just kind of slide and move, kind of like with her like athletic skills of an archer into the crowd, no one really is paying all that much attention. Everyone is drinking, having a good time, having conversation. There's lots of like waist-high pockets with coins and trinkets hanging off of belts. People dressed up in finery kind of moving around the crowd and giving you an opportunity to see like pieces of jewelry and other things hanging about. Winter, as you watch the same crowd but from a taller angle, you're seeing necklaces and bracelets and purse satchels strung across where people are reaching in and pulling out coins to give to the cart takers that come and bring the alcohol onto the floor. And there's just this feeling that this is a ripe environment for picking pockets.
Sticky hands.
Sir, my
Yeah.
internet is so trash today. Sitting outside.
No
in the
worries.
parking lot. Oh. Can you repeat that slightly?
So like Puck is down below because she's only about 3 feet tall. So she's seeing all the opportunity from the waist level. You're taller. So where she sees like pockets and other opportunities, you see things like necklaces and bracelets and like people wearing handbags and other things to kind of keep their possessions. You can tell that people are pulling coins out of the inside folds of their refinements that they're wearing, you know, filling up the drink carts bucket with coins as the drinking and carousing and kind of watching the bardic display is kind of taking up, you know, a lot of the preoccupation. So, since you guys both have plenty of targets, both of you go ahead and give me sleight of hand. And because of the conditions of the area, you can give me advantage on sleight of hand.
This was 21 and a 1.
Nice.
So a 21.
Oh,
But
What'd you get, Winner?
13.
15 or 19?
Am I muted? Oh, 13.
Oh, we can hear you.
13. Gotcha. So
That was
Puck,
with advantage? Dang.
was that with advantage, Winner?
Yeah, I had a low roll.
So Puck, you see a particular fancy looking belt and you decide to give yourself a challenge. You kind of look around and you use your shoulder to bump one person into another person, which causes the wearer to turn, and you like finger out the buckle and the strapping, and you watch as the belt just kind of falls away from the waist of the person wearing it and like right into your hand. They don't even notice as you kind of like coil up the belt in your hand. Winter, as you look at necklines, and there's a particular brooch that someone's wearing on their clasp of their cloak, and you're like, it looks pretty cool. So you kind of do the classic bump, and you kind of go, oh, excuse me, and you kind of like fall up into their shoulder and like, oh, sorry, and he's, oh, it's quite all right. And you feel the brooch in your hand as you slip it away and off of the fabric. So far, you two haven't been caught yet. I rolled really shitty on my perception. You want to keep going?
Yeah.
Okay. Give me fresh perception checks as you begin to look around for another target.
I think Puck has had a hard day, so she's just drinking a lot and
like just drinking and like stealing and drinking and stealing.
It's just like a kid in a toy store, but with alcohol.
I got a 19.
Perception, okay.
A 7.
A 7? You're having a hard time finding a target, Puck, so you're having to drift deeper into the crowd. For you, Winter, you see one particular individual that has an amazing kind of like diamond and studded choke necklace around their neck. You can see that it's clasped from behind. So you start maneuvering your way through the crowd. Give me a sleight of hand with advantage because it is a very loud and kind of raucous location that you're in.
Oh, okay, I'm back. How do I roll advantage again?
You roll twice and take the higher of the two rolls.
Okay.
She's on her phone, so rolling on
I got a 20 for the second. So
nice.
Okay. I got a
So
20 for the second roll.
Yeah,
So
you kind of use you kind of use that same bump and grab, but this time as you accidentally bump into the woman in front of you, you quickly bring your hand up and unclasp so that when she turns around, the necklace kind of goes sideways and off of her neck without her even knowing it. And then as it falls towards the ground, you stick out your foot and you feel the necklace drape across your foot. And the woman goes, oh, pardon me. And she kind of turns back around to talk to the person that she was talking to. And you reach down and you snatch the necklace up off your foot and drop it to the inside folds of your robe. Puck, one more perception check. See if you can find another target.
Come on, Puck.
My perception is so bad. I am not perceptive. I am stealthy. You can't be both.
How are you an imperceptive ranger?
I know. That's a 13.
I'm not that kind of ranger.
Oh, yeah, no kidding.
I sense things. I don't see them. That's different.
That's a 13.
13? You see a particularly fat purse filled with coins on the hip satchel of a kind of very like obvious merchant who's talking to two very obvious women of the night. Like that their specialty is to flirt with them all night long and try to get coin from them. And they have them pretty heavily distracted. And you're draining like your second tankard, so you're getting that buzz on, and you're like, fuck this shit. And you gotta like slide through the crowd. Give me sleight of hand with advantage as you reach out to pluck the purse.
Ooh, 20 and not 20, so 20.
Okay. Yeah, you managed to like undo the leather tie, and while the two individuals are laughing it up with the merchant, and as he does that big beefy belly laugh and laughs really loudly, the purse kind of flies off and immediately into your hand as you let go of the tankard, grab a third tankard, and you shove it into the folds of your cloak, and you start, wandering in. And we'll say you and Winter. So, Winter, are you drinking while you're doing this?
Yes.
And you are too, right, Puck? I need
Oh,
you
yeah.
both to give me con saves, please.
Hee hee hee.
Ooh, I got a 10.
A 10, okay.
She means I got a drunk.
Can you hear me?
What'd you get, Winter?
Okay. Yeah, I got an 11. It wasn't
11?
much different.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the two drunkards meander through the crowd. Spot is spinning up a conversation with the individuals that are trying to run the table, getting their attention, but thieves can't. Zenith and Earthen, you make your way back to the temple and coming up the familiar stairs into the reception area. One of the acolytes and scribes that are currently working, because it is getting later in the evening, immediately recognize you. The young boy comes over and he's like, it's good to see you again, Mr. Saneth, Master Earthen. Is there anything we can help you with?
We understand there's a traveler being held below from a great distance. We'd like to speak with him if we can.
Allow me to get you my my master scribe. I'm unfamiliar with the Lower Warrens, but she is more familiar. I'll be right back. He goes back into the hallways, comes back out with another cloistered, not a prefect, but a priestess, but not quite like a prefecture. She comes out and goes, "Oh, Mr. Zenith, Master Earthen, I'm to understand you wish to go down to the hollows down below in the holding residences. Is this true?"
That's right. We understand there's a traveler below who was found in the ocean a few weeks ago.
If you are aware of them, then I'm assuming the prefecture has spoken with you. Yes, please, follow me. And she immediately begins to guide you down the familiar long hallways. You're coming down those familiar stairs that would take you down to the holding cells where you had the initial conversation with
Mannheim.
Yeah, Mannheim, and even the familiar cells that Puck has been down here before.
Well, and
But
then
instead
Mannheim's
of-
body yesterday, earlier.
Yeah,
today.
but instead of like stopping in this area, she continues to take you down another level. And when you get down to this bottom level, it's not as foreboding as the upper level is that you just came through. This feels like that when people want to cloister or want to pray or want to like have isolation, they're brought down here, or they choose to come down here. You could actually hear a strange language echoing up through the hall. She takes you all the way down to the end of the hall, turns right to like an open area, and you see this individual. They're wearing all blackened fabric attire, but it's very strangely made attire. You've never really quite kind of seen anything like it. They're tall because they're standing in front of like a small dais with like an offering altar in front of it. There's pews and benches. This feels like maybe one of the lesser chapels that would be used as a part of beginning of cloistered processes. And he seems to just be leaning heavily on the altar. He's very tall though. He's got like a green white skin pattern with kind of like speckled kind of patterns on his skin. You could see very fluorescent and vibrant tattoos on their back of their arms and legs. They're wearing like a high leather boot as well. other than that, they don't seem to be armed. Their shoulders and body are very narrow. But from the back, they have very long braided hair with kind of like a strangely pointed upwards head with a weird shape to it. You see the hair is like swathed in and up as it comes down into the braids. And they seem to be chanting or speaking in their own language to some unknown thing. And she stops the two of you. Sir, Thorzen, you have visitors. And you watch as he pushes away from the altar and he turns and looks. He's got that very long goatee coming off of his face. But it's his eyes. They're almost like reptilian with a kind of yellow, kind of sideways pupil inside their eyes. I see. Hello, more people to gawk at the stranger, I imagine. They come with the permission of the prefect. Oh, in case I'm assuming they can be trusted. Please, enter.
You don't recognize her? Have you been outside of this place?
No, I have not.
Oh,
I've stayed
wow.
down here. Why? Is she important? Is she special?
There is a statue of her outside.
But to be honest, you all look alike to me.
Fair enough.
I have a what's the best way to describe that guy? I have a very orange friend who would really appreciate that remark.
Oh. Well, if your friend is orange, I'm imagining he's quite a lot of fun. Is there anything old Thorzen here can do for the he's not sure. You're the first people I've spoken to in quite some time. The prefecture, while allowing me access to everything down here, had assured me that if people found out about me, that my safety could possibly be of concern.
Well, we don't want to harm you at all. Frankly, more and more curious of how you got here.
Oh, it's amazing that you think you could harm me. That's fascinating. As far as my arrival here, I can assure you, it was purely accidental. I was traversing to, I'm not sure if you know what it is or understand its comprehension. I was traveling to an asteroid known as the Bracken Sphere with a ship of my family, my clan. We were intent on getting there before an astral storm had arisen. A strange kind of, I don't know, an arcane rift is what the navigator described it. But they seemed convinced that they could get through it. So they plunged through the rift with the intent of coming out on the other side, and I found myself adrift amongst, well, at first what I thought was just the vapor trails of the storm, and eventually spluttering water as I tasted salt water at the time. Found myself swimming. A fishing boat that was on its way back into the harbor sword pulled me from the water. They were convinced that I was they referred to me as the ugliest mermaid they'd ever seen, and were convinced they could sell me to a tavern keeper to put my head above a bar. Needless to say, I was not looking forward to that. Through minor suggestion, I asked them to take me to a place of safety. They offloaded me down in the harbor sword. I found people of authority. They wear vestments. I was told they are guards of Vasselheim. And I was taken to the temple. As they didn't know what else to really do with me. To be honest, be very honest, I did use my magics to safely get me to the temple. Most people seem to deal with me with a more degree of fear than common purpose. My kind is not known around here, I think.
Certainly not.
The storm that you traveled through,
Yes.
was it Were you traveling through mist? Was there anything unusual or unfamiliar, or you just traveled from the storm and found yourself in water?
The storm, from where I'm from, is boiling arcane energy. The navigator called it a rift, a slight edge of the area that was under arcane influence. The navigator felt that he could get through it, but as you can see, I am here. I think the ship was destroyed in the process, or maybe not. I'm not entirely sure. And then I found myself swimming. I don't really have a memory of anything unusual about the storm other than its overall arcane intensity of what it was doing.
What is your trade where you're from?
I am an astrological observer, and I also build devices for the purposes of looking at astrological events. I was on my way to the rock sphere with the hopes of gathering necessary components and silicate minerals to work on parts and lenses for another device that I was getting ready to build. It was an unusual time for travel. We normally don't travel during the high season, as it could be dangerous with the piracy, but it was a very important journey. I must get these components to finish my work. But now, I'm not really sure what to do. I don't really know how to get back.
How long have you been here? I thought it was a couple weeks. Is it only a couple days?
No, during my arrival, there was the beginnings of a great fire that occurred on the other side of the island. A lot of panic and people of concern. The immediate arrival at they call it Vasselheim fleet. I'm sorry if my words don't make sense. I don't know your people and I don't know your states or your nations. During the confusion, I was kind of using my magics to gain access to what I recognize as a place of religion. In fact, I recognize the deity Helm. It is not all that different from our own kind of understanding of Pantheon. I personally do not believe in the divinity as it is taught. I believe it did a little bit differently, but I figured if there was safety and shelter, this would be the place to seek it. I found your prefect. She said a great deal was in chaos and going on. She felt it safe to keep me down here in the hollows, to keep me out of ear and sight of those that may find my appearance concerning.
What were you trying to observe?
At the time, nothing. I was traveling towards the sphere rock with the intent of gaining minerals. I was planning on putting together an observation excavation of a gravity well that we had been studying for some time. I'm sure what I'm saying may not make a lot of sense, as I am speaking of a place that maybe you have not been.
Yeah. I mean, those are like regular occurrences where you're from?
No. Well, kind of. But they occur. So where your world, I've been able to figure this much out. I've been given access to some of the Hollows libraries that they have down here. Your world is called Exandria.
Alexandria.
So your world exists in a great sea, great vastness. You might refer to it as a plane of existence, or even a kind of universe, or place inside of space. Your world exists in an area that we call wild space. There's a veil of energy that encapsulates it, surrounds it. It allows it to exist within an even greater space that we call the astral sea. The astral sea is made up of thousands of these wild spaces. Other worlds, other planetary structures, asteroid fields, gravity wells, other things of astral existence. Now, where you are currently located would have been a very, very great distance from where I think I would have been located. However, when I plunged through whatever that rift was, I found myself here. My excavation plan was to travel to a gravity well that had mysteriously appeared rather quickly. And we were under the impression that it might have been a place that was offering up an opportunity to traverse to another place of existence. Most gravity wells exist that way, but they are not rifts in the true sense of the word. They sometimes come into existence after, how shall we say, ships or creatures or beings of immense power pass in and out of the astral sea.
Were you aware of a being passing through in that area?
It was the last known location of dreadnought, an astral dreadnought that we call 6439442. My observation guild, we track these beasts, these creatures. It had passed through and gone somewhere. Not entirely sure what would have the capability of harnessing such power, because astral dreadnoughts tend to be creatures that are controlled or under guidance of things that are more powerful.
Is it a sentient creature or is it a vessel?
Well,
or both.
It could be both, depending on. An astral dreadnought is, well, it's a very unique creature. It can be best described as being titanic in size, something that's very large. They tend to be very feral and monstrous creatures. They can be controlled through magics or other persuasions. It is said that when the astral sea was formed, that they were the remnant of the divine that used it to bring worlds into creation. Some can be as big as a mile long. Some could be smaller or bigger. They're not as numerous as we once originally thought they were. But the strange thing is that during our observation of that particular location in the astral sea, that particular gravity well, I had discovered remnants of creatures that had traveled from the other, maybe from the other side of the gravity well. I'm not sure. Not quite a rift in the idea of the location of space, but a kind of opening of a door, a portal gateway of sorts. I believe the evidence that I was looking at, that it was coming from the Shadowfell.
Does the name Erebos mean anything to you?
I have heard that name in study before. Where have you heard the name?
I have met the name.
What do you mean? That's impossible. That's the name of a world.
Well,
We call it a god's world.
a god's world, you say?
Yes. Certain worlds that we come across bear the remains of temples and ruins before they met cataclysmic endings. There is a wild space called the God's World Erebos.
We may have met the former deity of that world then. We met a dragon man thing, not from this realm, who, upon release, disappeared.
Fascinating.
I don't know if that has something to do with your gravity well or with any of this veil crossing that is happening, but there seems to be a whole lot of veil crossing happening since the fire titan attack, if you want to call it that.
Oh, I was told that the fire titan was more of an emergence.
Yes.
It had come from somewhere, was making its way towards the city. That was what your prefecture told me a few days ago. We were conversing over the possibility of what these gateway transgressions might mean. More importantly, she's eager to help me find a way back home.
We don't mind to assist in that task as well. But how? When traveling you call it astral sea?
Yes.
And you say these dreadnoughts can pass through.
Well, if they have the help of other magical creatures, they're quite ignorant and feral beasts, left over from, well, to be honest with you, we believe them to be many millennia years old.
It sounds as if extraplanar travel is something very normal to you.
Well, not normal, but I am capable of it. But unfortunately,
I should say normal as not normal as in not impossible. It happens, and it very noticeably, definitely happens.
I understand your point.
It's not normal here, but suddenly it's happening here all over. We fought a blue dragon, and I pull out the piece of bone. We fought, by all means.
Takes it, and you watch as his hand courses over it. You watch as the bone begins to give off an illusionary projection, and he immediately manipulates the image of the blue dragon, like in the empty space of the cloister. My, that's a dragon that's a long way from home. Is from the world of Atlas. They are Dragon Lord keepers. It's a very far place to come from. This Erebos that you encountered, did he look like this? And he begins to fabricate yet another illusion, but this illusion is this massive city, like this ruin of a city that he fosters up. And as he manipulates the illusion and the projection, he's pulling it apart and pushing the three of you deeper into the illusion until you're standing in front of a mile-high temple. And this temple is so vast and high in its ruined state, you can see that it gets lost up in the lower atmosphere of whatever world this is. He pulls you up through the illusion towards the top. And as you get up there, there's Erebos in a statue, like a massive 100-foot tall statue with its wingspan out. And then he twists the illusion around to bring you in top. There's a statue of a rider on top of Erebos. And as the illusion pivots and looks at the rider has long hair, carrying a helm under their arm, as you're staring at an almost duplicate visage of the statue outside of this temple on Gnomeworks. And Eartha, you just look, and you and Xanath look at each other. It is a 100-foot tall statued rider on the back of Erebos that looks just like Xanth. And that's where we're going to finish tonight.
What
And we're
are
on
you?
Whoa.
What are you?
I don't know.
Oh my God, that was fun. We finally got to the big arc. So we will be off next Sunday, and we may be coming at you with a different time the following Sunday. If both Spot and Winter can't make that new time just for that one day, we may have to take another day off just to kind of, balance out the schedule and keep it normal. But we'll figure that out.
We're off next Sunday.
Yes, we're off the 8th because I'm closing the studio tonight, and I won't be back until the 10th. The studio won't open again until the 10th. So and I took care of everybody's stuff, so you don't have to worry about that. Everybody go ahead and linger.
I don't work that following. I don't work the weekend after next at all.
Okay, perfect. So you guys go ahead and linger. We'll talk about that schedule in a moment. Everybody else, thank you so much for coming out and seeing us. We'll be off next week. We'll be back the following week. Be safe, be kind. Don't forget to play a game. Good night, everybody.